Hello again, this is Fred with Monotonous Minecraft, Episode 3. Today we'll be clearing out the desert temple that we found in the first episode. We've also got a few time lapses lined up of things I've worked on since the last episode. I was doing my mining as we left off last time, just digging those tunnels underneath the ground. And I found some cool things that I think are really going to help us out in future episodes. So it'll be real cool. The first thing I came across was a skeleton spawner. That's always great to see. We'll be using this to build a XP farm later on, and also to get those sweet drops. Great thing about finding a dungeon, of course, is you get some goodies in the chest here. We'll be taking the chest out. I have a lot of these pickaxes for mining those, so I had to ditch some of the extraneous stuff in the lava. And after the spawner, the next thing I found was this mine shaft. These are a pretty good supply of wood, and sometimes they have libraries, which is good for bookshelves, so we don't have to make so many books ourselves, and use those for our enchantments, of course, coming up. But also, you know, a big part of doing this, the mining, is you'll see me building out the floor. So I got to fill in the lava, got to ditch some more of the materials I don't need, and then I realized I had to go back and get the materials I did need. So, you know, planning helps, kids. Always plan when you can plan. But you can't plan to plan, so you fail to plan. A plan to fail. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so what's not in this, what I didn't capture in this video was right before I left this area, I saw a cave spider spawner up in the mine shaft. So I threw some torches on those to turn it off until we have some good use for it in future episode. You gotta really be careful while you're doing this mining. You know, we're just making a straight line path through, so you don't know what you're gonna run into. Lava is fairly common when we're down at this level. The water here is trying to push me into the lava, so I've got to adjust for that. And then I've got all these pickaxes, so I've got to adjust what I'm carrying so that I can get all the good stuff and still not waste any materials, well, as much as possible. Like I said before, cobblestone first thing to go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build an item duplicator. This will give us extra goodies based on what we've already found. Iron, diamonds, gold, coal. Anything that you can put into a block and then break apart within the crafting table. I don't know. I only ever use it for those things, so I can't remember other things. You can find other stuff, though. So this design came from Skippy6 Gaming. There'll be a link in the description to it. And it's very easy to build. The hardest part was finding a dispenser. Well, not finding one, you know, getting the string to build one. I didn't have to kill any spiders, though, since we found the stuff in the mine, so that was super sweet. And as you can see, it's really quick to build. I mean, you throw down a crafting table. You put a dispenser on top of it. You put a little bit of cobblestone or any other kind of block you want. I think non-clear blocks, the invisible ones, you know. Glass, stuff that people who know Minecraft more know what are. And a little bit of redstone. What you're doing here is actually creating a redstone clock. As you can see, you know, we're putting the blocks down and you can see it starting clicking going through. And that clock will actually shoot things out of the dispenser. And that's going to be the key to duplication. What we're doing is we're creating so many entities, the system can't handle it, and it starts creating duplicates based on what we're doing. We also need a lever here to turn the duplicator on and off. Otherwise, the clock will always be running. And you really need that clock to be off in order to load your stuff into the dispenser in order to duplicate it. So I already grabbed some iron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load that here into the dispenser. You want at least 2 stacks, a little bit more is good. The more you have to start with, the better it is, but you can start with under a stack and still get it to work right. Now the inventory here, you've got to make sure you only leave 2 blank spots open, and that'll be to build what you, to get your duplicated items. So fill everything else with something else, just whatever, it doesn't really matter. So then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on the lever, go into the crafting table, and you're going to start building blocks and then breaking them down in ingots. And all you're doing is you're going back and forth, blocks, ingots, blocks, ingots, blocks, ingots, blocks, ingots, as fast as you can. The quicker you can do it, the more you'll get. And the thing of it is that it builds. So the further you go into this, the more you have in your dispenser, the quicker it will be to create even more. So what I like to do is put a couple stacks in here like I did at the beginning, and then keep going back and forth until the entire dispenser can be filled with just the basic iron ingots or diamonds or whatever I'm duplicating. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit more of this iron, keep saying that weird, iron butterfly. Keep doing some of this iron, and then I'll switch over. So, you know, I went through and I started at, let's see, 2 full stacks and then 5. And then by the end, you can see here, I got 2 full stacks and 47. So I made 42 ingots, you know, just going through the process twice. Just out of the blue because of the entity cramming. Well, the entity cramming is when you get rid of mobs, whatever. But because of the entity and the weird lag that's built into the system, it can't handle it, so it just counts things more than once. It doesn't really know where it is. So then I'm switching over to diamonds, and I'm starting doing excuse me, and you can see that it's same process. It's still just as quick, and I'm starting way low on diamonds. And I'm going to get a fair amount of this. In fact, I'll probably go offline here and try to get even more. Since the goal of this world is to flatten, I'm going to do some flattening. Enjoy the music. Boy, that song went on forever, didn't it? I just threw that together fairly quick this afternoon. I'll come up with a little bit something better, maybe more fleshed out. Well, I won't say soon, but eventually. Let's see. So let's get into this temple here. So the way I like to approach these is I dig straight down on the side. You have to you don't want to just open up the middle and jump in. You want to just keep breaking down until you get down to the bottom. And if you see that pressure plate right there, that's got 9 blocks of TNT underneath it, which is why you don't just jump straight in, because you'll blow up. So what I like to do is just kind of work my way around, grab all the TNT, and then start working on getting all those goodies. You never know what you're going to find in any of these chests you find anywhere, whether it's the dungeons or here or in the nether. But it's always fun to see what they are. This is going to have looks like it has a lot of gunpowder, which would be useful for more TNT. Like I said, we're flattening this world. In order to make it easier on ourselves, we're going to want to use TNT to blow some stuff up. In the past, I've used a lot of TNT for like hills and mountains and things, but I've actually found it's really good to tear apart forests, jungles. Jungles are such a pain to tear down. It's much easier just to stack up a bunch of TNT, start hitting it with some arrows with a flame bow, and it starts going off. You plan it just right, you can start shooting it everywhere. I experimented in the past with one of Ilmango's TNT droppers, and I'll go ahead and include a link to that too. It's a pretty cool build, but it was complicated enough and hard enough where I didn't feel like I wanted to build it too often in survival, since I'm not mining all the way down. But it's really cool. You should definitely check it out. So yeah, we're getting some good stuff in here, and I'll definitely keep in the chest. We're gonna have lots of chests. We'll probably have, I don't know, on order 2, 3, maybe 400 chests. I wonder if we count it. We should count these chests. How many chests are we gonna use? I'm not counting. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be hundreds. We're gonna want to save some of our resources by just taking every chest we find, and that's what I've been doing. So in this final time lapse, we're going to get out of here and start tearing down the temple a little bit. I like to fill in these holes. I don't know where I'm going to build any mob farms, and of course any unlit tunnels or any dark spaces where mobs can spawn will cut down on any of our numbers. So I always either fill these up, put some water down, or throw in some torches. And since I'm in the bottom of a pit, I might as well build my way up. Now I'm going to stop here around level 63. I'm building a 64, but I want to fill in all my gaps, or all my level space that I fill in to do the flattening will be dirt, so I can try to see how much of the green I can create. And since we have a lot of water mixed with a lot of sand, we'll be covering up the water with dirt, and we'll have a lot of green and tan getting together. And then, I kind of lost my way getting out of this temple. I knew I came down an easy way instead of digging straight down, but I couldn't find my way out. Let's go drop off some stuff. Got a lot of loot out of there. Had to drop some cobblestone, so it's good to get rid of what we have. And we'll organize this a little bit better later on. Some of the stuff I plan on taking back to the main base. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. I just go with what feels right. So now let's start tearing down this temple. While we're tearing this down, we're not going to tear it down too far. Probably get it to level. I'm not sure exactly. At some point we'll finish tearing everything down. But I want to talk about that. So the temples are cool. The fortress that's to the side of us is cool. All those builds that generate are really neat. But except for the villages, I really don't want to keep them. We'll be leveling it down to that 64 level. We'll probably end up building some bigger buildings. But for the most part, except for the villages, which I'm only keeping because I want to keep the villagers alive, we'll just be tearing down what's there. we'll get some material, and yeah, we may use it, we may not. It's hard to say. Although the fortress, since there's so much wood in there, well, that's a really good way to get wood without having to worry about trying to plant trees. We don't have. We've got that giant jungle down in the corner. We'll have plenty of jungle wood there, and we can, do tree farms and things. But it's still nice to have a ready supply of wood and supplies. Mostly, though, it's just aesthetics. I want it to be a flat world, a mostly flat world, and almost everything we see after it's flattened will be things that we've built ourselves. We'll be doing like cool design or cool buildings. There'll be a lot of little hut mitts and things that we build for ourselves to keep things like beds and material supplies, so that when we're working on a mountain, we can stay in that area and not have to run back to the main base all the time to drop off things or pick up things and make new tools and whatnot. So we'll have a lot of opportunities as we're flattening this world to build some really cool things. Maybe even do an underwater build or two. Well, I mean, in addition to the Guardian Temple, that may be our only underwater thing. And I'm getting rid of the water, and quite frankly, tearing down that thing too. In order to make the Guardian farm, you gotta tear down what's there. So it'll be a really cool thing we'll do in the future. Other than that, I mean, we've got the Nether we have to contend with. I don't know if I'll go into the End or not. I don't think I've ever been in the End. I think I've been there creative. I don't do that. My Minecraft playing really is flattening, and it's monotonous. Thus the name. But it does just kind of allow you to sit down and have fun and just break stuff and do some resource gathering and making sure you're keeping in with keeping what you need and using what you have. So as we get to the point now, got this kind of down. I'm running out of pickaxes and shovels. We'll start wrapping this up. That's all the time we have for this video. This is going to be super late. I've been having lots of sound problems today. But that's okay. No one watches them yet. It'll be fun. As always, if you like it, comment, got something to say, subscribe, be awesome. Talk to everyone later.